This behemoth of a bag is the Shimoda X70, and I took it and the gear inside recently to Yosemite to film this clip. Like I said earlier, I recently got back from Yosemite. We went and watched the firefall, and I wanted to shoot it, take photos, video, you name it. And I wanted to do it comfortably. Like the Peter McKinnon travel bag, 35 liters of equipment. You can take like an entire studio in there. But I dare you to wear that for like a 10-mile hike. You're not going to enjoy the experience. But that's exactly what this bag was made for. And I could spend an entire day, an entire video, dedicated video, going over all the stuff I like about this bag. But I'm not going to do that. This is more about the gear that's in the bag. So even though I mentioned taking a lot of gear and taking it comfortably, that is kind of like the priority. But more so than that, it's about the gear, the actual gear I want to take. And some of those bags don't let me take the gear I want to take in the way I want to take it. I know that's confusing, but the camera cube on this is massive. And what it lets me do is it lets me rig up an entire cinema camera and leave it rigged in the bag. None of those other bags can do that. All right, let's dive into the gear. What I love about this bag is that I can like rig out this thing, batteries, lens, monitor, and I'm using the 7-inch Atomos Shinobi, which is pretty big. I'm kind of comically big on this, but that's what I like. And I can leave this thing fully rigged out and plop it in this bag and still have a ton of room, as you'll see, for a ton of other equipment. This little micro trigger from Mutiny is a joy to use. I think it's freaking rad. I've got these Atlas handles from GDU. They're not the most functional because they don't like spin, they don't have run stop on them, but my God, are they comfortable. And I love shooting like this. Like this is actually, I've got like a little butt plate I put on it, and it keeps this camera super steady. I've got the GDU monitor mount, and the reason I love this mount is because it's very secure. The best monitor mount I've ever used. Again, not as functional as other things, but it's also very low profile. And I can take the monitor from all the way down here if I need to. And then when I store it, I can bring it all the way up. Just love this camera. I freaking love this camera. Power wise, I took 3 sets of batteries. I've got like the 955s on here, but I also took the big boys. Where did I put those? They're in here. There they are. So I also took these big ones, the 970s, but I never used them. I just used these, and I never fully drained the second one. So good work, Shimoda. I also took the chargers for the NPF batteries in the Shimoda. They're just up on my battery plate wall thingy, the wall charger. They're just a pain in the ass to take off, so that's why they're not in here. But you'll get a good idea of how much equipment I took, because I'm just going to leave it out here. Now, lensing. This was an interesting one because I have the 7 Artisan series that are made for Super 35. I have the IRIX full frame cinema set, the ones that are available at this time. Those are beautiful lenses. And then I also have the set of Sirui full frame anamorphics. I don't have the 135, but everything else. So I decided to take the 7 Artisans. And there are a few reasons. Mention size, they're very tiny. You can see, here's the 50 mil. Very, very tiny. They're built really well though. What I love about these, 82 millimeter front filter thread, so I could stack my Pro Mist and my Freewheel NDs on there, which I did, but they also go to a T1.05. And, you know, shooting at sunrise, shooting at sunset, in some conditions you just don't have a lot of light, shooting at T1.05 is not only useful, but the character on that lens is absolutely bananas. It's kind of like a weird cross between a Helios 442 and an anamorphic lens. So I decided to take those. I took the 50. Come here, little guy. I took the 12, and then here's the 25. This is the biggest lens. The 25 goes to T1.05, and the close focus distance is like 3.5 inches. I've been shooting a Shimoda review. I shot some of it with the 25, and let me pull this out. This is the Sirui 1.25 anamorphic adapter stacked on top. And some of the images are so weird in a cool way for me. There's only one problem. Shimoda's crop factor is 1.33, not like 1.5 or 1.6, like most APS-C sensors. And this thing ended up vignetting pretty heavily. The footage ended up just looking too weird. Not the footage I wanted. So the second day that we were there for 3. I just left this in the hotel room and shot the rest of it, what you watched in the intro, just on these lenses. So none of the footage with this was included in that, but I took it. It went. I've got this JJC filter bag, which is pretty rad. It holds up to 10 filters. So 82 and 77 millimeter variable NDs and different types of black Pro Mist, quarter and 8 strength. And I used 8 on everything. Quarter is a little too strong sometimes. I did take my RF70 to 200. You're shooting something like the Firefall. That's pretty far away. I did want some distance. It's got IS. I used it in a couple shots in the intro video. Shot my time lapse on it. And it ended up working really well. And I felt like it fit in with the rest of the glass very smoothly. I have this, you know, the R5C. This thing is an absolute beast. But I knew I wasn't going to be taking video and photo with it. I just don't have enough batteries to make it work. There's just a lot of friction with this, and it just kind of stressed me out. And it's huge. Like, it's like, okay, is there any way I can save weight? Now, even though I pulled this out of the bag, the camera I took was the FX3. The FX3 is like half this size with the same type of lens. I have the Sigma 16 to 28. This is the 15 to 35, and the Sigma is honestly like half the size. Took the DJI mic for audio and just put that on top of the FX3, and it was such a small form factor. That camera is so fast. It's faster than this camera when you turn it on, turn it off, and I'm so glad I took it, and I loved that camera. I decided to take and do all of my photos on this. This is the Fuji X100V. So a couple reasons I took this. One, I love shooting on this camera. It's a lot like the Komodo, where maybe this isn't like the best camera to take when I have something like this, but I enjoy the experience much more on this, and I think that's extremely important. I love the photos that come out of here. I knew that the photos would be going to social media, so I wasn't really worried about like having 45 megapixels from a full frame sensor. I'm just throwing them on like my Instagram story. So this was fine. Plus the size, like this is so tiny and light. Like I just put this in my jacket pocket and walked around with it, or I'd put it in that front pocket of the roll top. It's also got like an optical zoom at a 50 mil and a 70 mil. So even though it kind of crops in and reduces like resolution even more, I wasn't super concerned, and it makes me feel like I'm getting some reach. Overall, I missed out on some of the big long telephoto shots. That's okay, because I knew I was going to kind of make that up on the video side. That's where I wanted to put the emphasis, was on video anyway. So I'm glad I took this, and it was a challenge. And that's also going to be one of the videos I wanted to create, was like the ultimate travel camera. Was it good enough? I guess you'll find out, but love taking this camera, and I'm happy I took it. Okay, so you saw the mini tripod. This thing is awesome. I learned about this from Caleb Pike, DSLR video shooter. This thing is a beast. It's small, but is an absolute tank, and it can hold, oh, I forgot to put that plate. It held that no problem. I had a little plate on here and I took it off, and I don't know why. Anyway, this thing is an absolute monster. I love this tripod. It's made by iFootage, and I just put an Arca Swiss quick release on it, but this little guy moves this ball head around, and it's super, super secure. So held the Komodo and all that, no problems at all. Second tripod I took two tripods. One was for a friend though. The second one, the one that I used, is this travel tripod by Ulanzi. It's the carbon fiber one. It was made to compete with the Peak design, and it definitely does, especially at the price. It is half the price of the carbon fiber tripod. This is also carbon fiber. It's like 320 bucks. It beats it in many ways, and it falls short in some ways. So I'm not going to do a review. Carbon fiber tripod, ball head. So that's kind of like the main way. It's like the Peak design. Like you can't quite get vertical shots, but because of this, you can do all sorts of crazy shot. You can always get the shot that you need. Whoa, that was a lot of talking, wasn't it? Firefall you got to do once, but Yosemite is a massive park. I recommend going at a different time when all the roads open, because it's absolutely beautiful. You could spend 10 days in that park and not see everything. Easy. Thanks to my buddies Joel and Ryan for putting up with all of my filming shit. I think they were frustrated on a few separate occasions with me having a camera in their face. But thanks, guys. Lastly, if you have any questions about all the gear that was used, you want advice, anything like that, please just ask me in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Peace.